On today's Toy Spot, we're going to be having a look at the Takara Tomy Transformers Animated Voyager class Blackout. Unfortunately, this isn't released through retail. This was actually, I purchased this through Big Bad Toy Store, and this is an import from Takara Tomy. Blackout. And unfortunately, seeing this toy first only serves as a reminder to me of how cool was it the opener of, what was it, season 3? Where we had Rodimus Prime and Cyclonus and everything else. And I think much like every other fan of Transformers Animated, the moment we saw that opener, we were thinking, oh geez, this is going to be awesome. We're going to get new Transformer characters in this season. And Blackout, you blinked, you might have missed him. That was the last time we saw him. Oh, so sad. But thankfully, Takara Tomy has released him. Now they've released him more in a Earth mode vehicle, which we'll get into in a second. But as you can see, box-wise, it doesn't quite look like a standard box or package from the Transformers Animated line. You would almost think, looking at it, that it does look like it's from a different line of Transformers. On the back, there is a story mode. Unfortunately, I can't speak that, so I don't know what it says. But it does give you his two modes, both robot and vehicle, his helicopter mode, including his weapons and his face. A nice picture of him down below. And the other figures in this wave, we've got Megatron, Starscream, we've got Blitzwing, we've got Shockwave. I stumbled there for a second, I don't know why. And then finally we got Soundwave. Decepticon Airborne Soldier Blackout. But that is packaging. I'm actually quite looking forward to getting this guy opened up out of his package. So let's not wait any longer. What we'll do is we'll get Blackout out, and we will have a better look at Blackout. Stay tuned. And we'll start the review first with him in his helicopter mode. As you can see, he's a fantastic looking helicopter, packed to the rim with an assorted array of miniguns. He's got a total of 6 there on the front. The coloring actually is very nice on him as well. When I first saw pictures of him, I was concerned that he would look similar enough to Megatron, at least in the way that it was yet another helicopter, but in person, he is actually quite different. I mean, certainly he is quite different than Megatron anyways, being that Megatron is a dual rotor helicopter, I guess. But I really like the look of Blackout here in helicopter mode. He appears to have no button. Usually with some of these, there is a button to activate the propeller blades. In this case, it looks like it's just something that you would manually move, which is not necessarily a bad thing. In vehicle mode, he really doesn't do too much. He doesn't really have any landing gear to speak of, as you can see. But one thing that's nice is that there is no apparent kibble. There is no apparent pieces of robot that you can see on the undersiding of the vehicle. He's also sporting a very nice Decepticon logo on both sides of his engines here. I was also concerned too with the different colors, the gold, the red, and the this kind of beige gray. I was concerned that it might be a bit garish in person, but the gold is there just enough, at least in vehicle mode here, that it's not an eyesore, and I really like that. Movable parts in this mode, really aside from the fact that he's got the propeller going here, you can slightly move up the turrets here. If if you want to have him shooting above or below. The turrets, miniguns on the front can also be lifted. But aside from that, that's pretty much all he does in vehicle mode. I was surprised that he actually had no wheels or anything to speak of on the undersiding. But again, being that he's a helicopter, and in this case a heavily armed helicopter, I can certainly live with the fact that he has no wheels. So far, vehicle mode, he is very, very impressive. He's a nice size. Size-wise, he's about the size of, I would say, Lugnut in his vehicle mode. So what we'll do is, now that we've looked at the vehicle mode, let's get Bulkhead. Let's get Blackout here transformed, and we will have a look at him in robot mode. And once transformed, we've got ourselves an even more impressive robot. His back blade, I guess his back end of the helicopter, can serve as a disc weapon for the robot. As you can see, I've already installed it on the side of the arm here. There's a little lever on the back side, and we've just flip it. I've already fired this once, and it went all over the floor. I couldn't even find it. But sure enough, I did find it just before I shot this part of the review. But you fire the disc by pulling the lever back here, and as you can see, it fires off a nice little bladed kind of missile, I guess, if you want to call it. It's more like a disc, really. Nicely detailed. And we can just take that part off of the robot here. It's a little too heavy, so it causes the arm to fall quite a lot. So I think I'll just likely leave it off. A very similar issue I had with the Lugnut and the weapon that he had that was the back of his plane. Again, weighs down the figure, and I'd be inclined probably just to leave it off altogether. So having said that, let's have ourselves a look at Blackout here. Blackout looks, like I said, very, very nice. He looks incredible in robot mode. Kind of does suffer the same problem that Lugnut does, though. I'm going to probably use Lugnut a lot in the comparison in this video, just because they do share a lot of similarities. One of which being the way he transforms. The front end of the helicopter actually folds out and mounts onto the sides, becoming the chest of Blackout. Now, the one problem I had with Lugnut, luckily, is not an issue here with Blackout. Lugnut's front was an automorph feature where it ends up being flipped out and snaps onto the side. Being that is the issue, these sides were on springs and could never close quite right. If you've seen my review or not, I don't even know if I have posted it by the time you see this, but the spring meant that in vehicle mode, the sides always fell back. They could never close when he was in jet mode. And luckily, Blackout doesn't have that problem. Everything seems manual up to the point the automorph kicks in up here, and the back of the rotors actually fall back, and you can tuck them in rather nicely. Once again, being that he is fold out the back here, heel spur there, being that he is a Transformers animated figure, he is very clean. Very clean, no real kibble, even in robot mode. And he's got such a nice little quality to him. Once again, being that he is very similar to Lugnut, he unfortunately dwarfs in size. He's small, yes, in vehicle mode, but once you transform him into robot mode, he is very short and stumpy as well, especially with really, really small legs. So that is another comparison I can make to Lugnut. But he is a very nice looking robot. I love the face on him. He's kind of got that cool face to him. Kind of reminds me of Tendril, actually, from Inhumanoids. And he can still have his turrets move. The turrets still can move in the front here. One thing I like as well is the fact that his hands actually have articulated fingers, which is really, really neat. In the way of his articulation, if you want to think of articulation on Transformer, he does have a full range of movement in the arms. The hands can bend. Of course, as I mentioned, the fingers bend as well. The legs and waist, first of all, the waist can move. The legs can bend out back and forth. You can bend the knee. And that's really about it, though. But as a Transformer, though, he is very nice. He is very, very nice. We are going to be getting ourselves, from the looks of it, a Rodimus figure from the Transformers Animated. After that, though, I don't see any indication of the toy line being continued, which is really unfortunate, because I would have loved to have seen an Ironhide, a Cyclonus, and some of the other figures and characters that we saw in that opener. It might be so much that it only ends up being Blackout here that survives, along with Rodimus. It's possible, but I definitely will say Blackout is a nice toy. If you can find him, pick him up. Again, you probably will have to get him at your local toy shows, or Big Bad Toy Store, or possibly eBay. But if you can find him, he is definitely worth picking up. He is a really, really nice figure. Transformation, he's nice and easy. There's not really a lot to him, which is the same as most Transformer animated figures. And I will say definitely worth picking up. The Blackout here, I am going to give an 8 to, and I really, really love the design of this guy. But that was a toy spot. Here we were looking at Transformers Animated Voyager class Blackout. Really, really cool. And with that, I will see you guys next time.